Panther Sports Zone. I'm Leon Brown.
I'm Zach Collins.
And I'm David Smith. We got a lot to talk about.
Yeah. Let's get right into it, man.
Notes about. So let's just get right into it. The men's basketball team lost to Baylor, unfortunately, this past Monday. They lost 80-91. They trailed 11 at the half, but during the second half, it seemed like it was a back and forth game until the Baylor offense got on a 13-0 run late into the second half, and that's pretty much sealed the deal. It was a hard-fought game. Coach Byron said it was a hard-fought game. They got worn down, got tired, a little behind. You know how it is.
They played Baylor. I think Baylor played a couple more games. So they're finally a little more conditioned, I would say, because it's a difference between, I would say, practice running and when you're in a full game, especially against an opponent at that level. That's something that plays into a factor. So things like that happen early in the season.
But no, I definitely don't want to knock their performance, especially putting up 80. Putting up 80 against a quality Baylor team. I think it shows what type of team that we have, the Prairie team has this year. So definitely keep eyes on them as the season progresses. I mean, it's still early, so
it shows the depth on our team.
Most
and
definitely.
It shows our offensive ability. We still have a couple tweaks to make on defense.
Right.
I think you have, how many people were in double figures?
5, actually.
That speaks volumes.
Yeah. And definitely, I think maybe one of the best teams in past 3 years, possibly. I don't know.
Here?
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree. I mean, especially from the first performance and then going into against the Baylor game, I think they're on a different level than what they have been in the past few years. I mean, we have had quality teams that came through Prairie View, but I think this team has a different swagger. So I definitely want to see them going into the next few games, get ready to go into SWAC conference play. So
who do you see moving into Zach's position? Because you know how he was the main leader. I would say
Gary put up double digits last 2 games.
Okay.
He put up 18 this game, so it looked like he's taking that leadership role. He's a senior this year as well, so.
Oh yeah, you definitely want that senior leadership because I think you get all the guys around to, we have the top person to be able to lead the program. So.
Right. They also play Texas Rio Grand Valley tonight at 7 p.m. You can tune in at pvpanthers.com and be able to watch the live stream. The women's basketball team is playing Oklahoma State tomorrow. So good luck to you guys. Y'all going to get buckets. It's going to be a tough matchup. Obviously, it's going to be harder than Jarvis.
There's a difference between going against the JUCO and
like you were saying, the difference between playing a JUCO and a top school like that. Oklahoma State, they have a pretty good program. I think it's going to be a challenge. Well, I would not challenge for our girls, but I think it's going to see how they're able to, compete with teams like Oklahoma State.
Right. The women's volleyball team is back in action this weekend. They play Alabama State on Friday for the start of the SWAC tournament. We all know they just finished with a 2-0 run. They won their last 2 games. Looking to continue that hot streak going into Alabama State.
Well, they started off with a tough opponent. I think Alabama State won the SWAC tournament last year. So that we'll get to see right up as soon as this tournament starts, see where we're at going into it.
Because if they lose, they pretty much done.
So we'll see how everything goes. We wish them good luck.
Right. So now, football team has had their bye week. We back in action. Our third bye week.
I'm good old.
We play against Alabama State this Saturday.
Yes, sir.
What are we looking at?
We're looking to get on a winning track for finally. I think we're looking to get our first home victory. That's something that we've been talking about. Obviously, since we've been playing at home those 2 games past, we didn't score a touchdown in either of those games offensively. So we finally found a little rhythm, I would say, in Jackson State towards the end of the game. But now we're trying to build off of that. Like we said, we talked about momentum for volleyball. We need momentum for us too, as far as coming from. Obviously, we had the bye week, but in the bye week, I think the coaches feel like we had our best practices just because we're at that point in the season now where it's all about just how you feel about football as a man. Like this is just, we're not playing for anything. It's just, if you love the game, like you're gonna come out and play. And we've honestly had energized practices. Yesterday it was extremely cold. I couldn't feel my hands the first 30 minutes of practice. But once you get to run it, the weather becomes a non-factor. And this weekend it's supposed to be like 70 degrees. So it's gonna be perfect. It's gonna be nice. So we really just looking forward to get there. Like I said, it's our third bye week. We're really tired of having bye weeks because it just makes the season extremely long. But we're looking forward to the game this weekend. Alabama State in their last game, they played Jackson State. I think Jackson State beat them 20-2. They scored a they forced a whatever that is
safety
at the end of the game. So we have our work cut out for us. It's there for the taking. We just gotta get back on our offensive track to where we were at the beginning of the season, which I think we can.
When we come back, we got some news in MLB, some investigation. We got a player's love tested for his game of football, and some more interesting news in college football. We'll be right back from the Sports Zone.
Traditions are not made overnight. They are created through a legacy of excellence and a commitment to something much greater. For more than 135 years, Prairie View A&M University has provided students with a strong academic foundation, a unique college experience, and the opportunity to make their mark on the world. This is a place where friendships are formed, discoveries are made, and dreams are realized. This is Prairie View A&M University, our tradition, your opportunity.
Welcome back to the Panther Sports Zone.
There we go.
Interesting news in the MLB. We just had some awards names, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the Mariners under investigation. Obviously, this is nothing new to us. MLB is considered an old people sport or old time sport. You got old folk up in high places, and pretty much a person in that organization was called out for calling one of their players lazy, dumb, stupid, especially the Dominicans.
Wow.
Right. So I just wanted to bring up this discussion on racism, not only in MLB, but like in sports in general, and how far we still got to go, even though we're in 2018.
It still hasn't been much progress. I just feel like now it's just swept under the rug. It's not really talked about. The people, like you said, who are in high places, they still feel these type of ways about us, but they don't really say it because now they're in the public eye and now they have people to answer. And when you say things like that, you have 1 million followers that'll tell you like that's wrong to think about. But the difference is the million people that follow you, they don't have the money, they don't have the backing that these older predominantly white people feel. So that's why they can get away with these things, and the only thing we can do now is shed light to it. And because all they're going to do is make them sell the team, which they're still going to get the money off of it. They're still going to reap the benefits from having that team under them. So that's just it's a win-win for them. It'll just look bad in the public, but obviously they still get their money, so that's all they're really worried about.
Most definitely that. Like you said, the whole racism thing, I think like you say, it's not just in Major League, it's also in NFL and NBA, college. But it's gotten to a point to where I think it's not addressed enough. Like you say, they want to, sweep it on the rug. They want to keep their image, as quote unquote the best. Like the whole with the Colin Kaepernick and his stance for against the national anthem and how they treated him. It speaks volumes on the organizations that have these people that are at high levels, and how they try to protect themselves. I think most time, when you have someone that speaks out on stuff like that, you don't want someone that's that intelligent that knows the things that they know. You try to push them away, to not have them to speak on issues like that. So
because they go against every theme that they try to portray of us as athletes as being stupid and just meet heads and just play the game, and that's all they want to put us into this box of only being able to do this sport or hit the ball, run the ball, things like that. That they want to put you into that little square. So when they find somebody that go against that, like Kaepernick, like you said, or even for them to say that to a player like that, just because they probably don't understand the way he talks, and all of a sudden he's stupid or he can't comprehend the way they feel. And we're not a political show, obviously, but when you have somebody as like the president of the United States, when he can say and do whatever he wants, people in those places feel like they have the power since they own the team, since they're paying them, that they can call them whatever they want and treat them whichever way they want. And that's an issue, but like I say, money is king, so it doesn't really matter.
And it's probably just bringing to light what they've been thinking for
the whole time.
Because because if you think about it, Dominicans in Dominican Republic, it's not like the best place to live. Especially, that's all they know is baseball.
Yeah.
They don't really care about, not to say like they don't want to learn, but like their number one goal is to like get out and support their family with baseball. And it's interesting that they bring that up because they have programs down there that like teach them not only to play baseball but like education.
It's feeder programs that go directly to the MLB. And the thing about it is also like not that many of us play baseball. So like, but the Dominicans, they still look like y'all. So it's still they still have a thing against them that they can't say until they say it behind closed doors, but they won't say it now. So I would say like that's just something else that came out, and that's their underlying issue of everything going on.
Speaking of the MLB, staying in that subject, they're starting a prospect league for the top 80 high school prospects in the summer. Well, in high school across America.
Yeah. When does that start?
It starts in June, which is they're saying they're trying to fix a broken system, but it's pretty much the same thing.
It's a farm system. It's all it's all the difference between like baseball and basketball is like. You don't have to go D1 in order to be good. Like
and a lot of D1 players not better than JUCO.
Yeah. They go to like JUCO. They go play a D3. Like, what's the guy that's waiting on his $300 million contract in Washington? I can't think of his name, but he's the best hitter. And he plays for Washington. Anyways, he went to a D3 school, so it's like they don't really have to go to like LSU places like that. Yeah. But that's like we said. That's just another farm system. It's just a way to get the best players they feel like and just groom them into the MLB. Yeah. Which I feel like isn't that what the minor leagues is for in the first place? Yeah. So I don't understand what they're trying to do with that.
I don't know, because if you think about it, it's basically just another, like there's a thing called Perfect Game Showcase and all that. They got the Under Armour All-American, Perfect Game All-American, and you got a number of World Baseball Classics games like that going on throughout the whole year that focuses primarily on the main players in high school. So it's really not fair.
Not at all. And I was just saying, like, what's the point of like you said getting those? I think it's that's what I was gonna say. It's to counterbalance the money that they make in College World Series because that's probably one of the biggest drawings because it had us watching. I mean, me watching baseball, and I don't ever watch baseball.
I think a lot of people don't start watching it.
That's extremely interesting when you get to the playoffs and the World Series. So I think they're just trying to get that same attention into their league, and like I said, because I would say their viewership is down compared to the other leagues. So they're just trying to figure out how to get that youth back interested in baseball.
All right, going into the NFL now. Last night, the Giants won over the 49ers, 27-23. Odell Beckham had a good game. Saquon Barkley had a good game. Moral victory.
They're fighting to draft. Who's gonna draft in the top three? They're figuring out the order. It looks like
at this point, they
now the Giants got to go 3. But Odell said he wants to win out and try to make it to the playoffs. I think he's have a far-fetched dream. Unless he keeps having 2 touchdown games, but I don't
see that coming. But I mean, hey, things can happen.
Exactly. And the only reason that they didn't lose that game is because Dan Mullen, he had 2 tip picks early in the game. That dropped. They didn't really manage the clock late in that game. Marquise Goodwin caught the ball. He caught it 20 yards, but he ran across the field, killing the time. So luckily, they only had a second left to throw a deep ball, and he threw it out the back of the end zone. I told y'all Mullins was going to have a good game. Just he had early mistakes that weren't really his fault, but he has to take them on the chin because he is a quarterback. It was a better game than I thought it was going to be, just because those are 2 bottom of the league teams. But you can see why they're at the bottom of the league with their penalties, the offensive line play, and it's not quality football. And I don't, they were talking about the offensive line for the Giants. They just paid the left tackle $70 million, and he wasn't protecting like he got that money. And that's a problem whenever you make these investments thinking that this team is going to be better places. And that's why they're 2-9 or whatever they are.
Wow.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I know as far as the offensive line, that's something that they've been dealing with since the beginning of the season.
Yes.
And I think that's really affected how Eli and his capability to perform as he has been doing in the past. So
They had expectations for this team to go further, and I think with the offensive line not living up to those expectations, that would hurt this team. So that's a part of the issue that they need to fix. But I don't see Eli being a quarterback after this year. even with the okay game he had yesterday. It's just you could see there's certain throws that he can't make anymore. Odell beat double coverage and he underthrew him, and it was just like, your arm isn't there anymore.
Especially taking the beatings that he has been taking these past few games.
Smacked, and that's the thing about a quarterback is when they're known for getting hit, they're not looking downfield, they're looking at the rush. So when your eyes are focused on the rush, you can't look to your receiver. So that's a part of his issue he has.
It's a good game coming up tomorrow. Packers and Seahawks. Seahawks came off a close loss last weekend to the Rams. Aaron Rodgers seems to be struggling, but I expect it to be a good game.
See, the only thing about those games is I know how my body feels, so I can only imagine them playing in an NFL game and then turn around and have it play 4 days later.
And it's cold. Just imagine the weather.
That's your body's not made for that. Like this is not basketball. This is not baseball where you can play multiple games in multiple back-to-back days, or you can stack games like this. Like our body's not created to hit the way that this game calls for. So that's my only issue with these Thursday games is you catch teams that, let's say if they play Sunday night, this game will be a more even matchup than if they play Thursday because people aren't really, they haven't healed their injuries. Their body isn't fully prepared for the game. So that's my only issue. But I would say right now, I see the Seahawks winning just because they're playing better as a team right now.
A couple years ago, a running back said, if you're sitting out of sport, then you don't love the game. 3 years later, that same man is sitting out. Passed up $14 million. Out for the rest of the year. That man is Le'Veon Bell.
Okay, let me put it to you like this. Okay, you feel like you're worth X amount of dollars. Let's say $60 million. You want all $60 million guaranteed, correct? If I only offer you, if 3 years in a row, I'm telling you I'm gonna give you this contract, but you keep giving me single year deals. So one, that tells me you're not worried about my future, and two, that tells me you don't believe in what I'm bringing to your offense. That's where he's at right now. He's got the franchise tag 3 years in a row. So this is the last time he's gonna get the franchise tag, and he was like, I'm done. Like, I'm not gonna keep playing for y'all and risking my body because, like I just said, this game is not made for you to keep playing over and over, especially at his position where he plays running back and he gets hit the most, I would say. Durability never lasts once they get past 26, and he's at that age right now. He's a little bit older than that. So he wants his payday. He's been producing in the offense. He's been top 2 back in the league. So he just wanted his due, what he felt he was due. He just seen AB get $80 million. He seen, obviously, they pay Big Ben. So he was like, I'm the third cog in this wheel, so I need to get my money. And they didn't feel like they needed to pay him. And the thing about the NFL is none of their contracts are fully guaranteed, except for one contract, I think, right now, which is the quarterback from Minnesota. He got a fully guaranteed contract. But that's part of his issue. That's what he's fighting for. He's fighting because the running back position for 2 to 3 years ago, they said it had died. So that's what he's trying to not only get them paid correctly, but he wants them to understand the value that he brings to that team. So, yeah, he said that probably when he was in college, probably thinking like, oh, I play this game for free right now. Like I can play for league minimum or whatever. But once you get in there and once you see that this is a business, you have to protect your future. And I think he has a daughter. He also has a family to take care of, and he has a lifestyle he wants to live. And he can't do that if they don't want to invest in his future for the long term. That's the biggest issue.
I see your point. I think for me is the decision that he's making not to go back to the Steelers. I mean, yeah, I know that you want, your certain contract, you want the money, but I mean, to be able to still play, I think that's the viewpoint is like, you're risking, yeah, I know the money might sound good, but why sit out? Like, what's the whole point of sitting out, waiting for another team to pick you up?
You're such a team player. Like, this surprises me.
I'm not understanding the whole point of, risking. I mean, you're not risking your life because you're not playing the game no more. But it's like you're putting your pride ahead of of
the team.
Yeah, and it's like that's the whole thing.
I told y'all this game, the NFL is not a team game. It's a me game.
Well, that too, but at the same time, it's a team game. Yeah, but when you have individuals, then you have the problems that you have right now.
When he feels like if it's not Ezekiel Elliott, if it's not Todd Gurley, it's him that you're going to talk about being the best back in the league.
I mean, I feel that.
So he feels like if he's going to lay on his sword and take this on the chin for everybody else to get paid, then he's going to do that. And somebody has to do that.
But who said he's not getting paid?
If he doesn't feel like he's correctly compensated, he's not going to play. Who's going to go to a job where they don't feel like they're getting paid?
I mean, no one's not going to. Because I'm not going to show up.
So what are you saying?
I mean, but he is getting paid. He's not getting paid the amount that he might want to get paid.
If that's the money he wants, he's going to wait until he gets that. I don't see a problem in that.
I don't see that is not the problem.
And he
but
hasn't
it's like
been there the whole summer, so he's not
You have a chance to play, and it's like, why don't you go out there and at least play for your team?
It's not about that. When it's a bigger issue, when you have to when he's one of the 32 starting running backs in the league, and he's the only one that's going to fight for that, he feels like he's a big enough man to do that. He done obviously made enough money to sit this year out and not worry about it. But his point is that not for him, it's for the people that come after him that want their money, that feel like it's due. Do you realize that he lined up, if he wasn't in a running back position, 40% of the time in that offense, he was outside.
Yeah.
So a running back only makes probably like $7 million a year. An outside receiver right now, Odell is making $19 million a year.
But he just got.
I know. So before that, AB was making 18.
Yeah.
So he just wants you to meet in the middle. He wants 15 to 16 million a year. So he was saying that the 7 that they were offering him for that contract, he didn't feel like it was enough because he does more in that offense, which he can argue that. The same way Jimmy Graham was telling the Saints, I want you to pay me like a wide receiver if you're going to split me out outside. I'm
not saying that he can't state the fact that he's probably one of the key weapons on that offense. It's the point of that you've been with the team. And it's like you putting yourself first before the team.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
because he put the team first the last 3 years when he took this franchise tag. So let's say he plays this year, tears his ACL. Now he out for the season. Now the Steelers don't have to pay him the rest of that contract. Now they don't have a contract to keep him under. Now he can just go on the free market. And let's say if he blew out his knee bad enough, nobody's going to sign him.
But who said he's not going to blow out his knee?
That's a chance you got in this game every time you play, bro.
I mean, I agree with you.
So I'm telling you, it's not a fight. It's not a selfish fight. If he's thinking about more than just his team, and he's thinking about every running back that comes after him, it's not a selfish fight. He just has to take the brunt of it because he's the face of what's happening.
I get what you're saying. My opinion, I still don't see the whole reason of not showing up and not eventually like
he
playing.
Hasn't been there the whole summer. He hasn't been there since the season ended last year.
But I feel like if they still giving you a chance to show up, why not?
He ain't come to preseason. He ain't been in the first 9 weeks. So what are they missing?
I mean,
they haven't had him. He hasn't been a part of this season. And if you see them like under little pictures, like James Conner will post something, and AB or Pouncey will be under the picture like, we don't really need him. Or they taking slick shots. So it's not him. Like, he wants to be there, but he sees the value in himself. And that's a theme of life. If you don't see the value in yourself, who's gonna see it? So that's all he's fighting for. He's trying to make sure that he has his future secured, and he's trying to make sure that the running back position in the NFL is not pushed under the rug, and the value is still there. Because when Kamara wants this payday, that's what I'm saying. He's gonna have to, if Le'Veon gets the money he wants, he's gonna look at Le'Veon's contract and be like, I want that or more. Because Kamara and Le'Veon is one and the same with the receiving ability, with running the ball. It's the same thing. But Le'Veon has to take that on the chin and be the one to get in trouble for it and take the brunt of the issue about it. It's nothing to do with the team. He has nothing against him. But you can't worry.
I get you. I see your viewpoint now.
You can't worry about somebody else's pockets. He wants his money.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
At the end of the day, you get your money. Sort of the same scenario or same situation. Draymond Green and Kevin Durant.
This you could have a problem with.
Kevin Durant say he wants out.
Kevin Durant didn't say he wants out.
But he said, man, what did he say? He was like, that's why I'm out of here, bro. Y'all got it.
He said something. See, this is different. We can have this conversation now.
Yeah.
What Kevin Durant is doing is wrong.
I feel what he's saying about the whole, bro, Draymond Green, it was like 5-6 seconds left. He chose to take the ball up court. Yes. Draymond Green.
I understand.
You got Klay Thompson at the elbow ready to bust a three.
And he turned the ball over. He
has no handles.
I'm not faulting Draymond at that point.
What?
I'm saying what Draymond did was wrong. That's outside of it. We're talking about the real issue between them.
Oh, yeah.
Which Kevin Durant, that's the difference. That's why I say Le'Veon Bell, I respect that more because he took himself out of the equation. He's not going to be on the team. He's not going to say he doesn't want to be here. That's not something you want to play for. You know what I'm saying? Kevin Durant is there, but every time the media asks him, he'll be like, well, it'll be nice to play in New York. I can see myself playing here, but you're playing for the Golden State Warriors. Your objective is to win this year. They already paid you. You're a part of this team. That's really Draymond's issue of
that he's
not bought in.
Yeah.
He hasn't bought into it.
How long he has? But he's been there with them.
This is second year, right?
2 years
or
3 years?
Yeah, this is third year. And he's already talking about free agency. He was doing that in the summer, and they still had a full season to go through.
Right.
That's not something you can respect. But he already made a not respectable decision about coming in. So we should expect this type of character from him. But that's the bigger issue. Yeah, Draymond should have passed the ball. Yeah, he's not supposed to bring it up. But it's a difference. Their issue was when KD was talking to him.
Yeah.
He was talking to him like he was just somebody like he was loony off the bench. The thing about teams is there's superstars on certain teams, and then there's the key piece that keeps everything glued together. And Draymond, he's that piece that keeps everybody together. So he feels like he has that right to bring the ball up court. Granted, obviously it showed that he didn't have that right. He needs to give the ball away. But when he's that person and he's the emotional leader, nobody really goes at him. Like Curry, I'm sure Curry doesn't go back and forth with him like that. Or Clay, they're both mild-mannered. So when him and KD butt heads, I feel like he's the type to bring up extra. So he brought up the issue of their contract. He brought up him not really buying into the team. And that's the bigger issue that they're all trying to figure out is, are you a part of this team or are you ready to leave? Because we're trying to do something that's never been done before. And if you're not trying to buy in, then we want you out. So I wouldn't pass my teammates the ball neither if I feel like you're not coming back.
I feel you on that, but I think that part is selfish. But I want to get to a part to where the chemistry, to why he might feel that he's not a part of the team.
Well, the Warriors already preparing for KD to leave after the year, so I feel like the chemistry is still gonna be there. The chemistry's still there
because it's still, but basketball wise, when them five are on the court, they know how to play together.
Yeah.
And they're all professional enough to get through it. But see, that's the difference when it becomes when y'all meshing, y'all feel like y'all are brothers.
Yeah.
He doesn't feel like KD is a part of that brotherhood that the other four are invested in. So that's where his issue, because he is an emotional player. We see him act out strictly off emotion. And that's the driving force for him. So when he feels like Kevin Durant is just going through emotion,
I get that, but I think my point is the reaction that KD gave after Draymond said what he said. So, to my opinion, I feel like he do kind of care. I think it's a lot that's going on. I think a lot of people probably don't know, behind closed doors, what he's probably dealing with outside the organization. So,
see, but that's the thing. When it gets to the court, it has to just be the game. And you can't let anything get involved within the game, which is bad on Draymond's part and KD's part. And they also, if they want to have that conversation, they can't have that conversation on national television.
Yeah.
That's not a conversation to have. The altercation that they had in the locker room where he called him what he called him, that's where it's supposed to happen. But it's also supposed to stay there. But that's the issue of, I tell you, they both act emotional.
Yeah.
And as men, you can't let your emotions get the best of you.
Yeah.
And they're letting their emotions get the best of them.
Before we go, interesting news from Markelle Fultz. He parted ways with his trainer, Drew Hanlon.
His trainer wasn't the one who hold the ball. Free throw.
I don't think Drew had anything to do with his shot because
nothing to do with it.
From his resume, Drew got a good repertoire of people he's trained. Yeah. If you really catch his training videos on YouTube, he be with Jason Tatum, Kelly Oubre, all this. So it's just not him. Yeah.
I don't know what happened to his shot. I don't know what surgery he had. He forgot how to play basketball.
No, I don't think he forgot. He forgot how to shoot.
It could be.
That's part of it.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be the scorer. He came into Washington as a scorer, right?
Yeah, but he wasn't playing nobody.
I just know.
Outside of the Pac-12, he really wasn't playing nobody.
Double clutch the free throw, and I was like, "What is wrong with you? Like nobody's in front of you. Like you don't have to pump fake, bro." So it was just.
Maybe he's just overthinking it.
He is. Like,
Probably so.
He's at that point to where he's messed up so much. He's afraid to mess up, and that's not a recipe for success.
You gotta remember, Kobe had a terrible year his first 2 years.
Oh yeah.
But he wasn't the scorer that he was at the end of the year.
Kobe?
Nah, when he was young, he was averaging like 9 points.
That's what I'm saying. He was struggling.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So he's gonna get better as long as he takes the coaching and he doesn't overthink himself.
Yeah.
As athletes, that's something that can definitely get you out of your game when you're more inside of your brain than just playing.
Yeah.
When it's not natural, that's not a good way to play.
Right. Well, we're all out of notes. We're going to talk on some more stuff. We got the game coming up Saturday against Alabama State. It should be an easy one. Nah, not really, but it's going to be interesting. I'm David Smith.
I'm Zach Collins.
I'm Leon Brown.